The silence of deep space shattered as the Nexus Confederation's massive dreadnought, Eternal Dominion, emerged from quantum transit. Its crystalline hull gleamed with centuries of technological superiority, a testament to a civilization that had conquered hundreds of worlds without mercy. Admiral Kroll stood on the command bridge, his four-limbed body rigid with anticipation. Holographic displays flickered around him, showing the insignificant blue-green planet that would become their latest conquest. Earth, a world so primitive, so fragmented, that its subjugation would be nothing more than a formality. "Scan complete," announced his primary tactical officer. "Minimal defensive capabilities. Planetary communications networks are rudimentary. Recommended approach: total orbital bombardment followed by ground invasion." Kroll's crystalline eyes narrowed. His species had perfected the art of planetary domination. Resistance was always futile. Always. Aboard the United Earth Defense Station Horizon, Commander Zara Rodriguez watched the alien ship materialize with a mixture of dread and determination. Her fingers danced across holographic interfaces, activating protocols that had been prepared for decades but never truly tested. "They're here," she muttered to Specialist Marcus Blackwood, her most trusted tactical analyst. "Every simulation, every war game, comes down to this moment." Marcus nodded, his eyes never leaving the tactical displays. "They don't know what's coming." The first wave of Nexus energy weapons struck Earth's orbital defense platforms. Brilliant explosions blossomed against the black canvas of space. To the alien observers, it seemed like a choreographed demonstration of total superiority. What they didn't see were the contingency plans, the distributed networks, the lessons learned from decades of potential conflict scenarios. As orbital defenses were systematically destroyed, Earth appeared defenseless. Admiral Kroll allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Another world would join the Nexus Confederation. Another civilization would be systematically integrated, its resources harvested, its people subjugated. But humanity had been preparing, not just militarily, but strategically. The first ground invasion pods began their descent. Thousands of alien soldiers, equipped with the most advanced combat technology in the known galaxy, prepared to establish total control. Their exoskeleton armor could withstand direct missile strikes. Their weapons could vaporize entire city blocks. They believed resistance was impossible. They were wrong. As the first wave of invasion pods pierced the atmosphere, something unexpected happened. Instead of panicked civilians or disorganized military responses, they were met with a carefully orchestrated defense that defied all alien tactical understanding. Electromagnetic pulses disabled entire squadrons of invasion craft. Precisely positioned orbital mirrors redirected solar radiation, creating localized energy disruptions. Underground networks of quantum-encrypted communication systems remained undetected. Commander Rodriguez watched from her hidden command center, a smile playing on her lips. "They think we're weak," she said to Marcus. "They have no idea." The first alien ground units landed in what appeared to be a major metropolitan area. Scans showed minimal resistance. Tall buildings stood silent, streets empty. The perfect setup for a rapid conquest. But perfection, in warfare, is often an illusion. As the first Nexus soldiers began their systematic sweeps, the true nature of human resistance became clear. This was not a fight they would win through conventional means. This was a war that would be fought with every ounce of human ingenuity, adaptability, and sheer, unbridled determination. Admiral Kroll was about to learn that conquering a planet is far more complex than simply overwhelming it with technological superiority. Humanity was ready, and they were not going to be conquered easily. The ruins of what was once a thriving metropolitan area now served as a battlefield unlike any the Nexus Confederation had ever encountered. Lieutenant Elena Petrova moved silently through the devastated streets, her tactical neural interface constantly analyzing the environment. Vren, the alien defector who had chosen humanity over his own kind, crouched beside her. His unique physiology and intimate knowledge of Nexus technology made him an invaluable asset to the human resistance. "They're scanning systematically," Vren whispered, his translator rendering his alien language into crisp English. "But they're looking for conventional resistance. They don't understand our approach." Elena nodded. The human strategy was nothing like the traditional warfare the Nexus expected. Every building was a potential weapon. Every civilian a potential combatant. The entire planet had become a living, breathing resistance network. Captain Diego Ramirez's voice crackled through their encrypted comm channel. "Falcon team in position. Prepare for Phase 2. The initial invasion had been a shock to the Nexus forces. Their advanced sensors, designed to detect organized military formations, were utterly confused by humanity's decentralized resistance. What appeared to be a defenseless planet was actually a meticulously planned defensive ecosystem. Underground networks stretched for miles. Quantum-encrypted communications bypassed traditional interception methods. Every citizen was now part of a global defense mechanism that the aliens could never fully comprehend. Vren pointed to a series of thermal signatures moving through the destroyed cityscape. "Their primary invasion force is moving through Sector 7. They believe they're conducting a systematic cleansing operation." Elena's lips curved into a slight smile. "Then let's give them a welcome they won't forget." The plan was elegantly simple yet devastatingly complex. The Nexus forces moved with their typical precision, believing they were methodically securing territory. What they didn't realize was that every step was being manipulated. Underground networks redirected water systems, creating microenvironments that interfered with their advanced sensor technologies. Repurposed industrial equipment became improvised weapon systems. Even the very infrastructure of the cities had been transformed into a massive, living defensive mechanism. Captain Ramirez's team began their operation. Precision-guided electromagnetic pulses targeted the weak points in the alien exoskeleton armor. These weren't random attacks, but carefully calculated strikes designed to maximize psychological impact. "They think we're fighting," Vren explained to Elena, "but we're actually teaching them a lesson." The Nexus invasion force had conquered hundreds of worlds. They approached each conquest with the same methodical approach: orbital bombardment, ground invasion, systematic subjugation. But humanity was different. Every failure was instantly communicated. Every tactical response was a collective effort. In a hidden command center, data streams from millions of sources converged. AI systems developed in secret analyzed every alien movement, every technological weakness. What the Nexus saw as random resistance was actually a globally coordinated defense mechanism. Elena watched as the first wave of alien ground units began to falter. Their perfect formations broke. Their advanced technology suddenly seemed less impressive. The humans weren't just fighting. They were evolving in real time. "Falcon team, execute Vector Omega," Elena commanded. The city itself seemed to come alive. Hidden infrastructure transformed. Industrial cooling systems became precision weapon platforms. Repurposed communication networks created localized electromagnetic disruption fields. Vren watched in amazement. "Your species does not fight like any I have ever seen," he said, a mixture of respect and wonder in his voice. "We don't just fight," Elena responded. "We adapt. We overcome. We survive." The Nexus forces were about to learn that technological superiority meant nothing against a species willing to sacrifice everything, to transform everything, to resist. This was humanity's true strength, not in their weapons, not in their technology, but in their unbreakable spirit of resistance. Deep within a fortified research complex, hidden beneath the Andes Mountains, Dr. Imani Okik stood before a holographic display that pulsed with potential. Her fingers danced across quantum interfaces, weaving together technologies that would redefine the very concept of human resistance. "We're not just fighting," she muttered to engineer Rowan Sharma. "We're evolving." The Nexus Confederation had believed their technological superiority was absolute. They had conquered countless civilizations, each falling before their advanced weaponry and strategic dominance. But humanity was different. Every technological limitation was viewed not as a weakness, but as a challenge to be overcome. Commander Seiler of the Nexus Reconnaissance Division watched the human defensive capabilities with growing concern. His species had never encountered a civilization that could adapt so rapidly, that could turn limitations into strengths with such breathtaking speed. Rohan adjusted a complex network of quantum processors. "The adaptive AI is learning faster than we predicted," he told Dr. O'Keefe. "Each alien attack is becoming another data point in our global defense network." What the Nexus didn't understand was that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't a piece of technology. It was their collective imagination. Every scientist, every engineer, every citizen was now part of a global problem-solving mechanism that defied traditional military logic. Dr. O'Keefe's primary project was nothing short of revolutionary. They were developing a distributed intelligence system that could predict and counter alien technological advances in real time. It wasn't just a defense mechanism. It was a living, breathing technological organism that grew stronger with each encounter. "Look at this," she said, pointing to a complex holographic model. "They use centralized command structures. We're creating a completely decentralized defense network. No single point of failure. No predictable response." Commander Seiler's reconnaissance reports grew more disturbing with each passing hour. Human technologies were advancing at an exponential rate. What took the Nexus decades to develop, humans were creating in weeks. Adaptive materials that could self-repair, quantum communication networks that couldn't be intercepted, weapon systems that could reconfigure themselves mid-battle. Rohan brought up a series of schematics. "We're not just defending," he explained. "We're turning their own technologies against them. Every piece of alien equipment that falls into our hands becomes a new source of innovation." The research complex was more than a military installation. It was a testament to human creativity. Laboratories that once developed medical technologies now created adaptive armor. Communication research transformed into advanced encryption systems. Every discipline was now part of the global resistance. Dr. O'Keefe's quantum AI system began to show something unprecedented. It wasn't just analyzing alien technologies. It was predicting them. Each alien attack became another layer of understanding, another opportunity to develop countermeasures. "They think in linear terms," Dr. O'Keefe explained to Rohan. "We think in possibilities." Commander Seiler's report to the Nexus High Command grew increasingly urgent. These humans were unlike any species they had ever encountered. They didn't just resist. They transformed resistance into an art form. The technological gap that the Nexus believed existed was rapidly closing. What had seemed like an insurmountable advantage was becoming a liability. The Nexus relied on proven technologies, rigid systems of conquest. Humanity was creating technologies faster than they could be categorized. "We're not trying to match their technology," Rohan said, a gleam of determination in his eyes. "We're trying to redefine what technology means." As night fell over the hidden research complex, the holographic displays continued to pulse. Each moment was another step in humanity's technological revolution. The Nexus thought they were fighting a war. Humanity knew they were writing a new chapter of existence. The real battle was just beginning. The moment of ultimate confrontation had arrived. General Nathan Holloway stood in the Unified Global Command Center, a facility that represented humanity's collective will to survive. Screens flickered with data from every corner of the planet, every resistance group, every technological innovation. Supreme Tactician Kale of the Nexus Confederation watched in disbelief as his supposedly inevitable victory crumbled before his eyes. What had begun as a routine planetary conquest had transformed into the most challenging military engagement in the history of his civilization. Major Rebecca Thompson coordinated the final phase of humanity's defense, her voice calm and resolute. "This isn't just about survival anymore," she told the global command team. "This is about showing the universe who we are." The Nexus had made a critical miscalculation. They believed technological superiority guaranteed victory. Humanity proved that innovation, adaptability, and collective will were the true measures of a civilization's strength. Vren, the alien defector who had joined humanity's resistance, provided crucial insights into the Nexus's final strategy. Their supreme command was preparing a total planetary annihilation protocol, a last resort measure for species that refused to submit. They're going to try to destroy everything, Vren warned. Not just conquer, but eliminate any trace of resistance. General Holloway's response was immediate. Then we'll show them the true meaning of resistance. The global defense network that had been quietly developing now revealed its full potential. It wasn't just a military system. It was a living, breathing organism of human innovation. Satellites repurposed into defensive platforms. Industrial complexes transformed into weapon systems. Every citizen a potential defender. Supreme Tactician Kale watched in horror as his invasion force began to crumble. The humans weren't just fighting. They were evolving in real time. Technologies adapted faster than they could be countered. Defensive strategies shifted with impossible speed. Major Thompson activated the final protocol, a globally coordinated response that would become legendary. "This is not about defeating an enemy," she said. "This is about proving our right to exist." The battle transcended traditional warfare. It was a conflict of ideologies, of collective will, of the very definition of survival. The Nexus had conquered hundreds of worlds, always using the same methodical approach. Humanity rewrote the entire concept of resistance. Quantum communication networks allowed instantaneous sharing of tactical information. Adaptive AI systems predicted and countered alien strategies before they could be implemented. Every piece of technology, every human mind became part of a global defense mechanism. General Holloway watched the final confrontation unfold. This was more than a battle for Earth. This was a statement to the universe about the nature of humanity. "We are not just surviving," he said quietly. "We are becoming something more." The Nexus invasion force found itself trapped in a nightmare of constant adaptation. Every strategy was immediately countered. Every technological advantage was nullified within moments. The humans weren't just defending. They were transforming the very nature of conflict. Supreme Tactician Kale realized the true horror of their miscalculation. Humanity was not a civilization to be conquered. They were a species that turned challenges into opportunities, limitations into strengths. As the final confrontation reached its peak, it became clear that this was more than a war. This was a declaration, a message to the universe about the indomitable spirit of humanity. They would not be conquered. They would not be subdued. They would rise, no matter the cost.